I wanted to start it off by asking what got you into drumming in the first place.
There's two memories I have. One is watching the Muppets and having Animal going crazy, and I'm the youngest in my family, so of course the youngest has to be a little bit crazy. I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's cool. And we have sort of similar hair, I guess. The second one was my brother listening to, was it Synchronicity by the Police? And then there was this song by a band called Falco, which is like going way back in the 80s. I just remember hearing the music and moving to it and thinking, this is really cool. And then getting like just a couple of chopsticks and just bashing away on my bed. I think I was like 8 or 9. And my brother, because we shared a room, he was not too impressed. But I mean, yeah, it's by my brother. Oh, and Midnight Oil. When I saw the drummer from Midnight Oil playing on a rain, like a big water tank with his drumsticks, I'm like, that's really cool. So yeah, those three kind of experiences. And then I bugged my mum for ages. I'm like, she was a single mum. I was doing a paper round as a kid, like driving around delivering papers to try and get my first drum kit. And then eventually, one day I came home and there's this beautiful silver drum kit with Zenki cymbals. I don't know what they are exactly now, but I was like, they wouldn't shut up for weeks, months, years. Yeah, that was cool.
That's so nice. And did you have lessons? Are you schooled? Like, I don't know that about you and your
Oh
playing.
yeah. Well, I started out. I think also the thing that nailed it was there was a guy in my church who played the drums. He had long blonde hair. He looked really cool. I really looked up to him. I remember going to him saying, "Can I get drum lessons?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, mate. No worries. I'll teach you how to play the drums." And he taught me the basics. And then we moved away. And then I came back to another guy called Steve Schultz, based down near where I live now. And that's where I learned single stroke rolls, double stroke rolls, paradiddles, all the good rudiments, and learned to read. And I did that for maybe a year, and then we moved again. But so then I just started listening to lots of music and just trying to copy all my heroes. And I think the thing that really turned the corner for me was when I went to America as an exchange student for a year. And there's a guy called Will Calhoun from a band called Living Colour, and they defy all of the kind of norms. You see them and you think a certain genre of music, and then they're playing like metal infused with funk and blues and jazz. I'm like, yeah, I got to play like him. And then when I was in school in America, I learned music theory, and I learned a lot of different things from all the different drummers that they had there. And a lot of them went on to like Berklee College of Music. Unknown to me, I was learning from some absolute legend drummers.
So that was that part of a school like exchange thing then, or like were you learning drums there?
No, so it was like a year 12 senior year in Manchester, New Hampshire. Oh, it's the same school as Adam Sandler too. That was pretty funny. So I met Adam Sandler's sister, who's a dentist, who's pretty unfunny, but actually you can be funny as a dentist, just hurts a bit, right? It was just a regular school. And in America, music is like unbelievable. I mean, they have marching. I was a cymbal guy holding cymbals, walking backwards, and making hi-hats out of my crashes, and learning a lot of theory. And whereas in Australia, it's like you'd be lucky if you got a beaten up old shed with a beaten up old drum kit with someone playing Akadaka, at lunchtime. So that just accelerated things for me. I was like, what? There's music called jazz and like classical music. It's not just all rock music. It all seemed to come together at once, where I found out about Living Colour, stopped listening to AC/DC. Well, nothing wrong with them, but stopped listening to just hard rock and started listening to some fusion, some blues, jazz. It's been an interesting education, very eclectic.
What inspired you to make cymbals, and how did that all come about with Red?
Okay. So, I got back from America and I'm like, had this really beautiful set of Zildjians. I had some new bit hats. I had a K Custom 20-inch ride, like 16, 18-inch crashes. And I played in this church and they were like, you need some new cymbals. Because you're right. If you crash that, somebody's going to kill you. Because it's just like clang, clang. It's not designed for crashability. It's a beautiful ride, but great for rock maybe. And it was around about that time when, rides need to be more crashable, not just all ping and bell. The cymbal's going to cost me a ton of money. I looked at this Constantinople ride in Australian dollars. It was like $1,200. And I'm like, it's a beautiful cymbal, but surely it doesn't have to be this expensive. So I thought, I mean, no, and nothing wrong with Zildjian. I love Zildjian cymbals. I would have played them happily for the rest of my life if I had $1 million. But but I was like, why don't I try and make my own cymbals? Not here in Australia, but why don't I investigate what it would look like to work with a factory in Turkey and do some sort of modding and hammering and stuff here as well in Australia. A friend of mine went to Music Messe in Germany, and I found a factory that they seemed like decent people. They made really good cymbals, so I reached out to them and said, "Hey, could you make some cymbals for me with my branding on it?" It started out, to be honest, as an OEM, so other equipment manufacturer, where I just got their cymbals and then chucked my logo on them and said, "Hey, Red Cymbals." They didn't last very long though, because I was like, I want something specific for me. I thought, worst case scenario, I order $8,000, $10,000, whatever, of cymbals, and then I just have cymbals for life and nobody likes them, and I'll just, hey, I don't have to worry about cymbals ever again. Thankfully, they arrived. I showed some friends and they're like, "Oh, wow, these are really good. Where did you get these?" And I'm like, that's a secret. That was 2018. And then from there, I've just developed a really great relationship with the factory where I go over there, I'll hammer, lathe, I'll create new cymbals like the Embers series behind me. And it's not using anything that they do, but completely from scratch. I designed the weights and the way they looked and where they felt in terms of, even things like doing heavy hammering around the edges or hammering the bell, lathing the bell and leaving the rest unlathed like this one. I went from being a high school teacher teaching music to being a metalworker, essentially. It's been a really fun journey.
Wow. And is there any particular cymbal that you're most proud of? And can you tell us why, if so?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it's this new Embers series, because wherever I play, there's always that comment, "Oh, the cymbals are like bleeding everywhere. They're too loud. The poor bass player." Bass players hit your cymbals with the headstock of their bass. And then they're like, "Oh, sorry." But I kind of think that maybe they're doing it as a revenge thing for the fact that they have to stand right next to you and they're getting blasted by cymbals. I haven't sort of gone through a whole bunch of stages of prototyping and going, "Oh, that sucks," and "Oh, no, this is good, finally." I made these, and then first time I played them, I'm like, "Oh, these are so good." Like, the crashes don't hang around for ages. You hit it and its voice is heard, it sounds really cool, but then it rolls off, the decays really quick. Well, it's not really quick, but quicker than the normal, like, heavier cymbal. So every time I play them, like, I'm sitting at a 60s, oh, you probably can't see it, 60 Pearl kit that I got recently. And if I come in here and if I'm having an interesting day, or if things have started off badly, like I've dropped my breakfast this morning as I was quickly trying to eat it. All I have to do is hop on this kit and just have a play, and I'm like, everything's okay. So it'd be that series, I think.
I'm curious to what makes the cymbal, like the sound, trail off so quick. Can you reveal that or get into?
Yeah. I'll grab this crash. I'll show you. So particularly the crashes. So the ride acts like a normal ride in the terms of it's got good stick definition and it's crashable, which is kind of cool. So it's finding that holy grail of a ride where you can hit the bell, and it really sounds easily to access it. It's very simple. You don't have to like try and move your hand on a weird angle to try and access the bell. So it's a little bit more pronounced. But with the crashes, it's unlathed underneath. But you can see all those dots around there. That's from a heavy hammer. So we heavy hammer the edge, but then to try and make it so it's not completely super dry. So it's probably the driest one we do. But because we hammer the bell and we lathe the bell and we've got this lathed edge around here, it just provides just the right amount of kind of cut and clarity. But then when you hit it, because of the heavy hammering, it makes it kind of trashy. Not trashy in a negative sense, as in like, but it's more in the sense that when you hit it, because you've altered the actual surface of the cymbal, it just creates that sense of like, all right, I'm gonna sound, but then the cymbal speaking, not me. Then I'm just gonna roll the sound off a little bit quicker, just because of the way that we've changed the edge or the surface of the cymbal. But it's also very thin, so it's not for somebody like. So this one here weighs 1,521 grams. A normal, and it's a 19-inch crash. Normal 19 might be closer to the 1700. So being thin, heavy hammer, and unlathed on both sides, apart from that one ring around the outside. That's what lends itself to quick decay.
We're learning, aren't we, Jem? I love it.
We are. What do you feel makes your brand stand out, and what do you love about it, above other brands?
Well, the feedback I've gotten is that, first of all, they're like, wow, whenever does a CEO of a cymbal company actually come and hold drum sheds and come and hang out with people and actually take the time to have a good chat? So the other aspect of my life is I was a teacher for 20 years. I taught the drums, but I also taught English, social studies, music, all that sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, what shifted me out of teaching was that I'd be in the music room at lunchtime. Kids would come in, they'd be like, oh my gosh, my life's in, and they'd use words that I'm not going to use. Mum's done this or dad's done this. And I'd sit down and we'd chat. For particularly boys that have to have something in their hands to be able to talk about stuff. So we just sit down with sticks and work out on a drum pad, or we'd get on a drum kit and have like a drum duet kind of jam sort of thing. Or we had this Marshall stack where if you was feeling stressed, you just get a guitar, stand in front of the Marshall stack and just be like, whoa, and it just made everything all right in the world. The long story short, I thought, I'll start my own cymbal company. And my friends were like, you're nuts. And I'm like, okay, that's confirmation that I'm on the right track. That's good. But they're like, okay, how are you going to differentiate yourself from all the other brands? Because there's the big four, and then there's like this layer of like big Turkish companies. And then there's a whole bunch of people and companies like Red. And the main ethos for me is I don't want to go out and just try and sell cymbals. In fact, I don't even worry too much about that. They sell themselves. My main emphasis is getting out and running events like drum sheds, hangouts, so people can come and play the drums, learn to play the drums, teach other people how to play the drums, and open it up for everybody. So it's not just a bunch of hairy, sweaty guys. I've been really intentional about saying, hey, this drums are for everybody. It's not a boys' instrument. It's for everyone. Even mums who bring their boys and girls to the drum sheds. We do mums on drums. So I'll be like, all right, everybody off. And I'm like, I'll be circulating it during the time and kind of chatting to people and working out who's a bit more game than somebody else. And I'll say, hey, Alyssa over there, hey, do you want to jump on the drums? She'd be like, oh, yeah. And then, there's like 4 drum kits. So if she played by herself, it's a bit unnerving. So they'd be like, and I'll ask some of the boys to, hey, come on, bring your mum up. And we get all of their mums playing the drums. And even if it's just rock you, and they do it. And initially they're like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't want to look bad in front of everyone. But then once they start playing, it's like their whole face just lights up and everyone's just having fun. So if I would say the one thing that differentiates us is that we care about the people we're working with. It's not just, you're not just a transaction. You're not just, hey, buy my cymbals or else. It's like, hey, let's hang out. How's things going? What can we do to encourage you as a drummer or encourage your son or your daughter to play the drums? And, what skills do you need? Do you want to learn how to do a double stroke roll, or, do you want to learn how to improve your timing? And it's like being part kind of counsellor, I suppose, and like, okay, you've come along, what do you want to learn? And it's part teaching, because I've got a master's in psychology counselling as well. So I just try and apply that in a different kind of way, I suppose, not sitting in an office all day. And then, for me, it's just emphasizing that sense of community and trying to get everyone involved.
Is an amazing mix of stuff that you can do. That's just like the ideal drum teacher. Talking about events, and you travel quite far to go to drum shows around the world. How important is it for your company to be at shows like that, to be present? For example, the UK drum show, the Europe drum show.
Yeah, that is the key question, isn't it? Because if you were going to buy a set of earmuffs, online you could buy them, and these things will show up, and you put them on, and they'll make things quiet, which is the opposite to cymbals. But for me, it's like, okay, people are like, oh, great, you've got a 22-inch Embers ride. The demo sounds really good, and I will record them with as minimal effects and and studio magic as possible. And people are like, oh, you know, you could improve your demos by rolling up some of this and EQs or putting this effect. And I'm like, no, we want them to be as honest as possible. So what you hear is what you'll get. In fact, most of the time people are like, well, your demos are good, but the cymbals are so much better. But there always will be people like me who actually want to put sticks on the cymbals. But it's also, I guess, meeting people too and showing people we're not just another boring cymbal company that is trying to flog you a bunch of gear. We actually want you to be involved and we want you to be part of the community. And that's not, I can't just do pure physical transactions. Like I'm not transactional, I'm more relational. So it's that sense of, okay, trying out cymbals and people going, oh, okay, these are legitimately good cymbals, but also understanding where we're coming from, who we are. My wife comes along with me and we've got an amazing assistant in New Zealand, Sophia, who travels around New Zealand and goes to festivals and is running sheds and things. And she makes us look really good too because she is so good at social media. There's only so much, I guess, you can do online, and then it has to be like, hey, we're here, you know, come and meet us, come and shake hands, you know, come and fist bump and let's have a jam with Tari on drums. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, from Cardiff and Wales. It's such a good partnership because those guys are legends. They're amazing people. They make beautiful drums. So we just set up the booth at the UK Drum Show and then have incredible jams all weekend. It's fun for us too. I love it.
It's clear that for you, it's, as you said, it's relational. You care deeply about your business because it's people and relationships. What's your like work-life balance? How do you, you know, manage that if it's possible for it to be balanced?
That's a good question. My wife, Lisa, is amazing, and she's like, you should have a day off today. But what we try to do is, so for example, we go to the UK Drum Show. I've got relatives in Cardiff and in Port Talbot in Wales. So I'll actually just take some time out and we'll go visit them. We'll go to Holyhead in North Wales and just walk along the beach and go, you know. I don't know how to take a holiday anymore though. That is one problem I'm trying to change, where I'm like the Energizer Bunny. Actually, that's probably an Australian reference, but I'm just like, let's go. Someone said once the hair coming out of my head, curly hair, kind of resembles all the thoughts that are going through my head. Whereas Lisa is more chilled out and laid back, and she's like, all right, hey, let's stop here. You know, like, let's not just drive everywhere and try and get all this stuff done. So yeah, it's pretty hard, but it's like every day now is a Saturday for me. When I was a teacher, it's always, when's Friday coming and how many days to the school holidays? But now I'm like, oh, it's like, I don't even know what day it is. It just feels like Saturday.
In a good way, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 You sound very, very supportive of girls and women, and you obviously make sure that everyone is involved in playing drums. Why is that so important to you? And why do you make it a priority?
I think it was this one experience I had where I replaced the drummer from the Living End as a drum teacher up in a place called Warrigal, so up in the hills in the country at a school. I rolled in, I'm teaching the drums, and a girl came in. She popped her head and looked, and you could see her face lit up when she saw the drums, and she's like, can I play? And I'm like, of course. Yeah, here's some sticks. Have a jam. And we did a quick lesson. She's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. My dad said this is a boy's instrument and I'm not allowed to play it. And I'm like, I'm devastated. I'm like, no, this is for everybody. In fact, I remember the drummer from the Cause seeing her play. And I'm like, that is so cool. And what's the band Skillet? The drummer from Skillet, she's from the UK. Jen Ledger. It's like, wow, when she plays, I'm like, that is so cool. I think I realized that female drummers bring something to drumming that men can't. And it's just the way they play, the way their voice feels, the way they play grooves. Actually, the first artist we signed ever was my friend Carolyn Oates. She is a singer-songwriter. And it was really intentional of me because I wanted to say, drums are for everybody. Ladies, give it a go. Like, don't be afraid. And don't look at the men or boys or whatever playing drums and try and emulate them. actually speak on the drums in the way that you feel like naturally you should speak. Don't try and be someone you're not. So that's from that one moment where it was just like, what? Drums are for boys? No way. They're for everybody. That really shifted my perspective and thinking.
Thank you for saying that. I
That's all
feel
right.
like most people feel that now, but it wasn't always the case, and it's just really nice for someone to say that out loud. Where do you see Red Cymbals going in the future, and what did you envision for it when you started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just like, if I can sell 4 cymbals back in the day, if I could even just make this a side hustle kind of thing, I'd be like stoked. I didn't think we'd end up where we are now. I mean, I'm in a warehouse. It's like big as it's like 265 square meters. And we started in my garage. I looked like a crazy hoarder because it was just full of boxes and stuff. And then it started creeping into the house, and I'm like, oh, Lisa, I think we need some more space. And she's like, the thing that really nailed it for me though is whenever I said, hey, I've been thinking, Lisa would always go, oh, this is going to cost money. But this time I said, hey, I've been thinking I want to start a cymbal company. And she said, yes, do it. And I'm like, what? I'm so confused by that. So back then I didn't have a business plan. I just spent every possible cent I had on buying cymbals. First year, it was like a side hustle, but then I had this epiphany. I'm in New Zealand. It's like 2019, right before COVID, of course. It was like November. I'm touring around with a friend. I'm shooting photos and doing videography and drone work for a friend for his big company. And I was working as a chaplain in a school back here in Australia. Mental health was a really big concern for me, particularly amongst musicians and young people. And I wanted to really make a difference there. I turned around to my friend. I said, look, you're going to say I'm crazy, but I'm going to quit my job when I get back. I'm just going to do Red Cymbals full time. He's like, yeah, go for it, mate. Come on. You know, he was really inspired by that, really encouraging. So it was just day by day, week by week, you know, a lot of struggle sometimes, you know, to try and make ends meet, I suppose. But I think the main thing was I just showed up consistently. Sometimes I would be tired and not very inspired and like, what am I doing here? But then I was just like, you know, if I consistently just show up, and then we invested in this warehouse during COVID of all times, and COVID hit and it was like, holy crap, what have I done? You know, everything stopped. And Melbourne was the most locked down place in the world. But I just kept believing and probably prayed like crazy too. You know, oh God, please help me. But then things took off, started to pick up. We quadrupled our revenue during COVID somehow. Because at the time I thought, oh, that's it, we're done. I'll have to go, go on, social security or whatever. But for now, I think the main place I want to take Red Cymbals to is really just take this around the world, hold drum sheds wherever I can, meet lots of people, encourage lots of people, start to really build more connections with people, not so we can sell more stuff, but make it sort of local communities all around the world that are all part of a larger community of drummers where, if you're having a bad time, reach out to somebody and chat about it. Don't contemplate taking your own life. Don't isolate yourself. Like even last night, a friend of mine, drummer, was just having a hard time in his relationship, and he said, hey, is it all right if I come hang out? So we were here till probably 11 o'clock last night, just chatting through some stuff and working on some strategies for him to work on his relationship. And if that's all I'm going to do for the rest of my life is do that and hold drum sheds and locations all around the world, then I think I'm pretty happy with that.
It's like the business is kind of a complete, almost like the side part of what you're doing. It's lovely.
Yeah, it really equips all. To be honest, when we sell a cymbal, it's like, cool, now I can afford to go to the Europe Drum Show. When we sell a cymbal or sell gear or anything, it's like, oh, cool, we can keep doing what we're doing. And it's an encouragement when the cha-ching goes off in Shopify, when people are getting what we're doing. It's not just we're not just a cymbal brand trying to sell stuff.
You mentioned a background in psychology and counselling, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that seems to be like in the front of mind, like want for a better term, with what you're doing, mental health. So what got you into that in the first place?
I was that music room experience where it was like kids would come in and be like,
Okay.
oh, I want to talk about stuff. But then the bell would ring and you're like, oh, got to go to class. And you'd be in the middle of talking through something and a lot of students would just go, blah, you know, and just talk about all of the things that were on their mind that they couldn't talk to anyone else about. And I swear, I think being a drum teacher, I always talk to anyone who's a drum teacher and say, hey, be aware of the fact that you are probably a very key person in that young person's life. And they will talk to you about all kinds of stuff because they trust you. You're not an authority figure. So for me, it was like, it's not a manipulation or anything silly like that. It's more just, I know when I was a kid, I would punch holes in the walls. I would lose my SH1T because there were so many emotions and so much going on, sort of crazy stuff in family life and things like that. I had a couple of people I could just go to and just hang out with, play the drums with, talk to. So I just want to be that same. It's like that next generation where I'm just putting my life, put my time aside for other people because I value what happened with me. And I kind of see if it wasn't for the drums and if it wasn't for a weird sequence of events throughout my life, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably would have taken my own life because, and there were times even as I was finishing my teaching career, I thought, I've got nothing to offer. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore, but I don't know what to do. And it was key people that said, hey, Dylan, do what you love. And if you don't love doing that, then it's no crime or whatever to just go, hey, I'm going to call time on my teaching career and do something else. But honestly, I thought I was useless. And it was this one key person who said, hey, I'm going to Cambodia and we're going to go to this school where we, because I was sponsoring kids over there, paying for them to go to school. And she's like, hey, come with us and come to the school, meet your sponsored child. It will change your life. And I was struggling with depression. I was struggling with thoughts of suicide ideation because I thought I was just a loser. You can't do teaching anymore. What are you good for? And maybe people are better off without you. And this was like 2014. So I went to Cambodia and it just rocked my world. I thought, I'm going to Cambodia. I'm going to do, like I'm so good. I'm this guy from Australia. It's going to change it. No way. I met my sponsor kids and they broke my heart in such a beautiful way. And I came back and I'm like, what have I got to complain about? I bought like one of my sponsor kids a $35 bike in Cambodia. And they were just like, it was like I'd given them a big treasure chest of gold. And I was just like, wow, if I can make a difference like that, then what else can I do? And so at that time, I was looking for something different to do. So I started studying psychology. And then I took up some roles in schools working in as a chaplain, sort of mental health, counselling, running programs. But then it got to the point, like I said, where this cymbal company took off and it was almost like psychology, counseling, drumming, teaching, everything I was doing all like neatly packaged up. I guess the clincher for me was when people would be like, what do you even do for a job? Like we see you driving on the Great Ocean Road, then you're in France, and then you're UK drum show, then you're in Indonesia, then you're in Cambodia. So the fact that people can't work me out is actually, for me, that's like, yes, I've made it.
I've got kind of 3 little questions I'm going to go with in one. So the first one is, whereabouts in the world do you sell the most cymbals?
Well, naturally in Australia, we do sell quite a bit in the US. So if I look at my zero P&L, which I hate looking at because I'm not an accountant-y kind of person, but it used to be all domestic, then a little bit in New Zealand, and then more and more it's in the US and then in Europe as well now. So I sold a hi-hat top. I made a custom hi-hat top for a guy in Sussex the other day. A lot of it's based around where I live. It's easy because people can just come into the warehouse and go, oh, I love that ride, and they, buy it or whatever. But yeah, so we're like a really skinny person starting to put on some muscle.
Second question, this one's from my daughter. She wants to know, if you're able to tell me, how many cymbals are made for your company per year? How many do you make each year?
We aim for about 1,000 cymbals a year. I wish it was like 100,000 cymbals a year, but that's our goal eventually, to surpass the 1,000 and keep going.
All right. And the last one from my little trio is, do you feel a pressure where there are these music shows and they're important? Do you feel a pressure to release a new product like every year or sort of to a certain date?
No, but I have. And I think it's probably because it's like, well, I want to make the drum show special for us, but also special for the people who come along. Not just same old stuff, but it's like, oh, they've got a new series. Now let's go check that out. But it's also a nod to kind of the attendees to say, hey, we really value you and we want you to be inspired by what we're doing, as inspired as we are. And so it generates some excitement and a bit of a, hey, we've got something new to show you, something fun. I mean, these are out now. The Embers are obviously here. I've got them. I've made demos, but we're going to release them specifically at the Europe Drum Show.
That flows nicely, because when this episode airs, it's going to be before the Europe Drum Show. So if anyone is going, what can they expect to see from you? Like, do you know where you're going to be? What projects are you going to have with you?
Yeah, okay, so we're going to be right near Varus Drums, which is going to be fun because there's a lot of jams going on around there. I think last year we were across from Ludwig and right next to Varus. As you come in, look to your left and I'll be like, hey, you can expect to come and go, hey Dylan, how's things going? Oh, can you show me, I don't know, how to work on my paradiddle or my double stroke roll? Products-wise, we're going to have some new jingles that I'm working on at the moment that will go over you can put over your ride, hi-hat, and also a snare one as well, which I make from when we cut out holes from cymbals for effect cymbals. We grab them and chuck them on like a stainless steel ring, and I hand hammer them and have some fun. What else are we going to have? Oh, my wife makes beanies. So we're making a special line of hand-knitted, handmade red beanies. So she loves crocheting and knitting. So I'm like, how do we kind of tie that in together? And I said, hey, can you make some Red Cymbals handmade, like really special beanies, not the machine-made ones? You have some drumsticks. Oh, we'll have some cool new red-coloured drumstick bags and black ones as well. And I think it's just we're going to be there with I said Varus. We'll be there with Tarion drums on board. Hopefully, we're going to get the owner of Tarion coming with us as well, Reese. And he is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he'll teach you Welsh as well, which is a really fun language. There'll be lots of jams and just really good chats and hangouts. So I think what we like to do more than anything else is just have good chats and just connect with people.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No worries.
I also want to say what you said earlier about, you know, your journey from, you know, going into psychology and not feeling, I don't know what the word is, but just not having great thoughts about yourself. You have already impacted so many people, and I know one of them, Mia, because I teach her. You've just been so kind and encouraging for her. So I want to say thank you for that. And I'm sure there are so many more people that you are having such a positive effect on. So
I hope so.
keep going.
I tell you what, who's also amazing is Mia's mum, and that she just puts so much effort and time into Mia. In fact, she said to me, "Oh, I guess I'll just have to wear the same jumper this winter." So I said, "Oh, what size do you and Ziggy, what size do you wear?" And she told me their sizes, so I shipped them over a couple of hoodies, and she was just like gobsmacked. She did not know. I love doing that. So I hope that we can just keep doing that. And I guess the bigger we are as a company, the smaller we'll also be, in the sense that we won't lose that kind of edge of like connecting with people and seeing a need. If there's a need that I see, I'll do my best with what resources I have to meet it. So the only reason why I would ever want to be a bigger company is so we can bless more people. That, you know, if we're struggling financially, then we can't so much. But if we're doing really well, then I want to pass that on to other people. And single mums, you know, doing their thing, helping their kids just get every opportunity. I just want to get behind that. I grew up with a single mum, and my mum was amazing. She was just and was an incredible lady. And so if I see other people in that space, I'm like, oh gosh, I will go out of my way to help, and do whatever it takes to really help people and give people lots of opportunities on the drums in life. Doesn't even have to be drumming related. It can just be, encouraging people in their schooling or in their job or whatever they're doing.
It's really lovely. I mean, it really comes across so well just in, that less than an hour we've been talking. I already love your company. And that's just something we need more of in the world right now, isn't it? People who are thinking about other people in a good way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I've loved this. What a great chat.
No worries. I'm looking forward to being back in the UK too. We're going to do a couple of sheds, one in North Wales, South Wales, and hopefully one in England somewhere.
Ooh.
So